Hello, my dears. Good morning. Today we can discuss a new topic: abandoned furnaces in villages. Abandoned furnaces in villages means in villages they gave up the use of furnaces or they avoided the use of furnaces. Furnaces means heating place, that is furnaces. So here the production of wood steel required a highly specialized technique of refining iron. Refining means that purification. So refining iron. And the previous session we discussed that Tipu's sword was very famous because it was made by wood steel. And here the production of wood steel required a highly specialized technique of refining iron. But iron smelting in India was extremely common till the end of the 19th century. And what is smelting? Last day's class we discussed that is a process of obtaining a metal from rock by heating it to a very high temperature. That last day we discussed what is smelting. And this smelting in India was extremely common till the end of the 19th century, especially the places in Bihar and central India. In particular, every district had smelters. Ones who doing this smelting, they were known as smelters. So every district had smelters that used the local deposits of ore to produce iron, which was widely used for the manufacture of implements and tools of daily use. So here the smelters, they use the local deposits of ore to produce iron, and that iron they used for what? To make implements and tools of daily use. The furnaces were most often built of clay and sun-dried bricks. Furnaces, you know that place we use for heating. So that furnaces were built of clay and sun-dried bricks. The smelting was done by men while women worked with the bellows. So smelting was done by whom? By men. And women helped there by using bellows. Then what is bellows? It's a device or an equipment we use for pumping air. So commonly in the kitchen, the former kitchens, the mothers, they are using this bellows for pumping air. You know that. So here the smelting was done by men and the women worked the bellows. Pumping air that kept the charcoal burning. So they used this bellows for what? Pumping air, and it kept the charcoal burning. What is charcoal, you know? So that charcoal means we prepare the charcoal by burning the wood. With the high heat, the wood we burn and we will get that charcoal. So here for burning the charcoal, the women, they pump the air by using bellows. By the late 19th century, however, the craft of iron smelting was in decline. So what happened in the late 19th century? Iron smelting process, it was going into decline. Most villages, the furnaces fell into disuse. So in the most villages we can see furnaces are not using, and the amount of iron produced also came down. So what happened in the late 19th century? The craft of iron smelting was in decline. It decreases. Most villages, the furnaces were not used and the amount of iron produced also declined. How it happened? Why was this so? That we have to discuss. So in the previous session, once we discussed about what happened to the weavers, the decline of Indian cotton weaving because of the coming of British industries, and here the same impact we can see. So we have to know how the decline of smelting occurred. One reason was the new forest laws introduced by the colonial government. Because of the new forest laws, the people, they were not allowed to enter the reserved forest. The people, when they were restricted to enter the reserved forest means, then how could the iron smelters find wood for making charcoal? Where could they get iron ore? Defying forest laws, some of the people they entered secretly in the forest and collected wood, but they could not survive with their occupation on this basis for long. So what happened? Many people they gave up their craft and looked for other means of livelihood. So you know that because of the colonial government imposed forest laws, new forest laws. So because of these forest laws, the people they were not allowed to enter the reserved forest. So the iron smelters they could not find wood for charcoal, and also they could how then they didn't get the iron ore also. Some of the people only they defied or disobeyed the forest laws and entered the forest secretly and collected wood, but by this process they could not continue. So what they do? They abandoned, they gave up their craft and looked some other occupation, some other means of livelihood. Then the second point we can discuss, or second reason we can discuss how this smelting decline. In some areas, the government did grant access to the forest, but the iron smelters had to pay a very high tax to the forest department for every furnace they used. This reduced their income. So some areas government allowed to enter the forest, but the iron smelters they want to pay high tax to the government. So it reduced their income. Moreover, by the late 19th century, iron and steel was being imported from Britain. So what happened here? What happened to the textile, or what happened to the weavers in India? Same fate the smelters also faced. What happened here? The iron and steel was imported to India from Britain. Ironsmiths in India began using the imported iron to manufacture utensils and other implements. So what happened? Indian ironsmiths they began to use the imported iron from Britain, and this inevitably lowered the demand for iron produced by local smelters. So what happened? So the demand of locally produced iron reduced now. It declined now. The ironsmiths of India began to purchase, or they began to use the imported steel and iron from where? From Britain. So what happened? The demand of iron produced in India that was lowered, it was reduced. By the early 20th century, the artisans producing iron and steel faced a new competition that we can discuss in our next class. So here what we discuss, what was the reason of the decline of iron smelting in India. First reason we know that because of the new forest laws. Another thing, the high tax they imposed to the iron smelters. Next point is that the import of irons and steel from Britain to India. So all this caused the decline of iron smelting in India. So how was iron refined for production of foods? We discussed them. So especially you know that Bihar and parts of central India, we can see iron smelting, and the local deposits of iron ore they used to produce iron. Furnaces at that time made of clay by using sun-dried bricks, and the smelting was done by men and women, and they used bellows to pump air for charcoal burning. This we discussed, you know that. And here next area we discussed that how the decline of iron smelting happened in India, that also we discussed. So dear students, go through this area one or two times. Have any doubt you can contact me. All the important points you can underline in your textbook. Thank you. Have a nice day.